who is a Deputy General Manager at Schneider Electric, and we'll discuss something which is being talked about constantly but rarely examined, which is work-life balance. And the theme for today is the surprising state of work-life balance. It sounds simple, it sounds obvious, but the reality inside high-performing team is way more layered than we think of. And that's what we have to discuss. We have Swati. Hey, Swati, nice to connect with you. Good to have you back on the talk show. And we have Rachit. So when we will start off with a brief discussion about yourself. So Swati, we'll start off with you first. Tell us about your journey from your childhood to becoming the leader which you are today, and what shaped about how you think about work.
Great. Awesome. No, first of all, thank you so much, Sarbojit, Jushe, and the Instahyre team for having me here. And good to meet Rachit as well. So, Sarbojit, since you mentioned childhood, maybe I'll start with where I come from. So, I was born and brought up in Amritsar. This is a city which has Golden Temple. That's what a lot of people will resonate with. What's interesting is that my parents actually had no expectations from me, which is also kind of liberating. And the only way for me to maybe do anything with myself was by getting out of the city. So I tell this to my husband till date, he was actually my ticket to freedom. Interestingly, I got married at 22, and my only condition was that I want to get married to someone who let me do what I want to. And that's what happened. I moved to Bangalore after getting married. My first stint was with a company called Auquen, which is also called Altisource today. Worked with them for a couple of years. And then my husband had an assignment to work from Melbourne. And in parallel, I was pregnant. So interestingly, I took a break. So since we are here talking about work-life balance, that was my first break. And I would rather say that, like when life needs attention, you need to give it attention. And believe me, when I took that break, I really didn't know what I'm going to do next. It was all about, let's just see what happens next. And after my daughter, we were back in Bangalore, and what I did was, I'm someone who can't really sit idle. So I started baking. So I was one of those home bakers. Today, you see a lot of people selling things online. There was no online back then. Interestingly, Truecaller had me saved as Swati Desserts because I used to make desserts and cakes and sell. So I did that for a year. iGet called me one day and they were like, hey, we're looking for women, who work from home. We have a few assignments, and I was too eager to, work from home back then wasn't even heard of. I was like, why not, let's try. Anyways, I'm sitting at home. I picked it up. This was to sell staffing solutions on behalf of iGate to some of these companies in the US. Did that project for 3 months. I was done with it. Then they're like, why don't you do recruiting? I was from finance background and I was like, I'm not going to do recruiting. I don't know. Tech recruiting, that too. And they were like, we'll train you. I said, okay, let's try it out. That was the beginning of my recruiting journey. Started with recruiting in the US. 2008 or 9 is when recession hit. MyGate wouldn't have anyways kept me because a lot of jobs were going away. I picked up a local consulting firm called Life Connections because they again, gave me an opportunity to work from home. And that was also because I wanted to pursue recruiting as a career. The best way would have been to move to domestic market. Started working with them, but then again, my daughter started school. She had asthma, took a break again. So 2 breaks. After that, when I again started looking for a job, it wasn't really easy to get another opportunity. So where I get my drive is actually this, it's not really easy for you, especially for women. When they take breaks, it's not very easy for them to get back to work. My corporate break was HP. HP is where I really learned how you work in a corporate setup, your orientation on metrics. Luckily, I got to manage a team as well. I ended up managing a team of around 30 plus people while I was at HP. And then Meg came in, started breaking HP. I was looking for a role which was more business facing, joined Exchanging. Today, both HP and Exchanging are one though. That was a fantastic opportunity because I got to work very closely with the CEO, and I ended up with Exchanging, starting as a recruiter to managing a pan-India recruiting team, which was again a size of around, I think, 25, 30 odd people. I wanted to join a startup in 2015, and I had no idea why, but coming from HP to a mid-sized company, it just made sense. I saw a lot of ownership that was passed on to me from, a very, really large organization to a mid-sized. I had an offer to join like one of those really, really promising startups today. Serendipity had it. I met someone from Axel. I met Narayan from Axel, and that was it. Axel was a life-changing opportunity again. Joined Axel. Fast forward today, last 10 years, I've spent with two VCs. In between, I also ran my own venture. I think I've probably touched close to 500 plus startups, and including some of the very, very prolific ones. I worked closely with Swiggy when they were really, really young, Browser Stack, Freshworks, Urban Company, to name a few. The last few years, it's been like Quadfigs, Atlan, SaaS Labs, and a bunch of others. Why now Cloudflare? Cloudflare, again, opportunity just came along. I have never really worked with a global setup where I've built a team for them from scratch. This is an opportunity which provides me that learning of building a team from scratch, and that's how I'm here. So that's a lot about like what I've done from my childhood. Actually was after I got married. I was really a child. I think
So that's
to
a very
now.
interesting journey from like doing baking and then to coming to exchanging and then going to startups, VCs, now into Cloudflare. Great. And I have Rachit. Rachit, what is your story? Like, tell me how did you become a leader, which is here today? How
So,
did you-
Sabujit, if I have to tell about myself, I'm an accidental HR. So that's one of the funny part of the story. So I'll tell you, if I have to start from my childhood side. So my father was very tough taskmaster. So he was like, take a practical experience and then go, because he was running his own company and he does not want to give his company to somebody who does not have an experience. So most of the time it was like, go get practical experience. After 10th, he used to send to me to a different organization where he knew go get some experience, and from there it eventually started for me, meeting stakeholder, meeting people, how you deal with them. Then at a certain point of time after my 12th was done, he was like, go out and market, you are not gonna sit at home. And from there it actually started where I met that was the first job which I found out for me, reaching out to one of the company which was selling mutual fund. And then with mutual fund I got the understanding of market. Used to speak to a lot of people, and that was a building stone for me. Then apparently I was running my company, and apparently I landed into corporate side. But before that I went to MBA, and it was my TPO who apparently said, you are a fit material for HR, you are not gonna go for IT project management. So that was my scope. Because I have done BTech, I took MBA, which was on the project management side and HR. And he was like, no, you are an HR material and you will go there. And that's how my first job went. And from there, the story started with a couple of smaller companies where I got experience working with a couple of e-commerce companies. I was supporting them at certain point of time as a consultant. And the career started. Then I joined one of the e-commerce companies in Gurgaon, and a lot of time we have spent there. I have spent there scaling them. The company became unicorn. So a lot of roles which I got throughout my journey so far were which was into HRBP side, talent acquisition side, then also a lot of campus engagement. So that's how the journey has been so far, Sabuji. And those things actually help me build a block.
Great. Okay. So, Rachit, continuing with you, let's come to the phrase itself. When
Sure.
you hear the term work-life balance today, what part of the conversation feels too simple or incomplete to you?
I think if you ask me, simple, it is never simple right now. So it's like people want to balance it out. And one thing which I say incomplete is work life and psychological balance right now, because that is one of the thing which people are looking out for, and that is why they compare work and life. And if you have to ask me specifically what actually makes a decision or help people out, is because people think work is something which is affecting their life, but apparently deliveries are. So maintaining that balance is something which they definitely look out for, and which I say psychology of a lot of people is getting impacted. I think that's the incomplete part, what I would say for to work life and psychological balance.
Okay, great. Swati, coming to you, it's on the same question. When you hear the term work-life balance today, what part of the conversation feels too simple or incomplete to you?
Great. Awesome. So, Sarvajit, this is something that I've always been saying. For me, it's about, when life needs you, you focus on life. And when work needs you, you focus on work. And I don't really see there is any difference between work life. Actually, they both are extension and they merge in many ways into each other, right? If your personal life is not in the best shape, it's going to affect your work. And if your work is not something which is giving you, fulfillment, it is definitely going to affect your personal life as well. So there's no perfect work life balance, like Rachit
Exactly.
mentioned. It's a lot to do with your well-being. For me, what's very important is how you're doing from your health perspective. I would
Exactly.
give that like a much higher weightage, because what's very important is you need to make sure that you're physically and you're emotionally and mentally doing fairly well, because if you aren't doing well there, neither of the two make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Lovely. So, like sticking on to the Swati's comment, like there's also a generational angle to this. Did you see different generations defining balance differently, and how should leaders like you respond to that?
Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, yeah, Swati, yeah, definitely.
Great, awesome. So, Sarojit, every generation has its own nuance. And the way I look at it is also given, how we are evolving, right? If you look at our parents, for them, I really see, like, they definitely had a much better work-life balance. Also because they had much lesser expectations from, where they were. Like, for example, I mean, many of us, and given where I am in my, journey of life, our mothers never really were pushed to work, right? Today, if you look at it, both the parents are working. And the way we saw, and at least I saw my parents, I was actually very inspired to work, because I really felt that, my mom never really had that financial independence. And I wanted that financial independence for myself. And if you look at it, we are like at the cusp of boomer and millennials, and millennials are the most hardworking people, because we really want to achieve it for ourselves, right? And then we have now, we talk about Gen Zers and Gen Alphas. So luckily, Gen Zers are probably our kids. And if you look at it, our kids have that luxury of, like not really pushing themselves that hard, because they have it. They've been provided quite a
Yeah.
bit. So for them, so it's very easy for them to demand much better work-life balance, because they have someone to fall back on. There is certain kind of a cushion that is available for them anyways. So I would rather say there's a nuance to every single generation, and that's why every single generation has looked at things very differently. Also, for our parents, I think life, or relatives, or giving time to family mattered a lot more. It's probably slightly lesser for millennials. Millennials tend to kill themselves at work quite a bit. And then we have our younger generation, which I think is like very focused on experiences and, like fulfilling their own passions and dreams. And thankfully, we are providing for it. So I'm glad that we are, and they can do what we probably couldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's good, on this. Like a lot of new insights has been put up by Swati on this. Like I'll just repeat the question for you. So there is a also generational angle to this. Did you see different generations defining balance differently, and how should leaders like you respond to that?
Sabujit,
Wow. Yeah. Okay. We'll
like,
have Rachel take it.
Yeah.
so, like Swati said, some amount of entitlement is definitely there. But what I see with this generation or with the previous generation, somehow they are trying to do certain things. Like, let's say they want to manage their work-life balance to achieve something. Like, they want to do their hobbies, they want to pursue their hobbies, which is like a kind of improving their psychological balance at times. They're looking out for a meaningful work is something which I usually, because what I speak to when I speak to Gen Z people, so most of them are like, that's the exact result that we would get and how we are going to achieve it. So being as a leader, on that, because they need authority right now, and because some amount of entitlement is definitely there, and which makes them ask questions. And if you are able to answer those questions, you are able to guide them in the right direction, I think then you're getting the right outputs out of them. Apparently, work-life balance for them is on the top, which is because they want to work, they want to enjoy their life, and they're also pursuing their hobbies, which millennials at point of time, we forget that we had some certain hobbies. I think which is why work-life balance is a key topic right now and everybody's talking about.
Okay, great. Uh, so Rajat, this is my last question from the main section. The last question is, and the tension, and here's the tension many companies struggle with. Do you think high ambition and work-life balance can truly coexist, or do we still treat them as opposites?
Sabji, this is a kind of a question where I would say some rule demands extensions. Some rules are in a way which is defined in a way where you need to extend. But to manage that work-life balance is also good. But yeah, results always matter. So there was one of my teammate in my previous companies who came in randomly comes in and asked me, why are we doing this? What is the result out of it? Why management wants us to do it? So the only question which I had in my mind is, let's say you are the management or you are the owner of the company, and why do you think result does not matter for anyone? But there is a way to achieve that result. I think that is something we have to work on. I think that is one thing which we tell them, or I guide them. Probably that's how it should be done for them. Tell them the right way and how they can achieve it. I think that is one of the thing, and it is. If you ask me, you'll have to balance it. But yeah, sometimes it become difficult. Both the things are opposite part on the opposite poles.
Great. Swati, coming to you on this question, we have all worked in very high growth startups, and you have seen around 500 startups. So, and here's the tension many companies struggle with. Do you think high ambition and work life balance can truly coexist, or do we still treat them as opposites?
Sarbojit, in my opinion, I don't think it truly exists. If you're really ambitious, you really have to work hard. And if you have to work hard, you have to give some aspects of, your personal life. There is no discipline without giving up, right? If it calls for you to be available for, like late hours at work, or be available for meetings that are later in the night, early in the mornings, you have to skip your kids' parent-teacher meetings, you have to skip your spouse's, doctor appointments, or same is the case with your parents as well. You have to. I don't really think that definitely exists. And again, you mentioned this is going to be like a very candid and a open session. So I'm being super brutal here. I think the brutal truth is that yes, if you really need to achieve and you have to make it, you have to make sure that you are available, you are visible, and you're going over and beyond. So that entails for you to kill some aspects of your personal life.
Great. Okay, so we have some audience questions from the community, and the first audience is Nandini, who asked that I work in a mid-sized company where leadership says balance matters, but performance reviews still reward visibility and long hours. As TA/HR, how do we influence that gap without sounding idealistic? So anybody can take it.
That's do you want to take it, or I can go?
It's okay. Great,
awesome. So Nandini, I think that's a dichotomous situation. If your management expects you to be available, and if that's the view that management has, and I'm really sorry to say that, you will have to be available. And this is stemming from my own personal experience. If there is a need for you to be available in office and there's an expectation, even if you are driving and delivering results without you being available, it will still be seen as something which is not right, right? In an ideal situation or in an ideal world, yes, I'm performing very well. My results are there, my productivity is there. HR can also say, all of that is there. But if your leaders perceive that that's like an important metric to measure your performance, then yes, you have to be available.
Okay.
This is my view, but yes, Rachit, you can.
Rachit, you want to add something?
Yeah, Joshi. Swati, I'll just add to it. Apparently, when you have to do it, it's like you said, I'll second you on that. Apparently, when it is required, and you'll have to be there because there is a certain dependency on it. But sometimes it's like in certain job aspects, it is manageable through different tools. Some operational parts getting AI tools introduced. I think that introduction of tools you can do, some amount of automation you can do. But if it is required, you definitely would have to be there because there is no replacement for your job. So you'll have to replace yourself. You'll have to get that work done. Is what my understanding is.
Lovely. Good. And we have another question from Aman. Aman asked that in industries where client demands or growth targets are intense, is true balance even realistic, or we should be more honest about certain roles that require? I think Swati, you have answered a part. Swati and Rajit, you have answered a part of this. Like, are you
It's
going to continue on this? Like, give it a spin.
for client servicing industry, primarily while you have to serve a client and you have to be on the forefront at times. And there is nothing which you can say running away from it. You'll have to manage a balance. You'll have to strike a balance, and things needs to be delivered. But which does not mean that 100% or 200% of your time is there. You'll have to certainly somehow balance it out with your personal life also. Impact is definitely there because while you are in a client servicing role, when you have to report to a client, it's like you get an email and you have to apparently respond whatever the time is. So that level you'll have to definitely maintain, but with that, some tools, some amount of proactive management would definitely help at times.
Yeah, no, I'll just add to what Rachit said. I think we have to be smart about how we manage our client relationships, and it's very important for you to work really hard early when you are in any new relationship, even in a work relationship. If you are able to build that rapport early on, then I think it just gets easier for you to get your way around working with your clients or your stakeholders later. So make sure that you are also reporting, you are proactive, and you are seen as someone who's driving and delivering,
Exactly.
right? So more than you actually doing it, make sure that you have that perception that yes, you are someone who can drive and deliver and be on top
Exactly.
of things.
Uh,
Okay.
just to add one more thing to Swati, so nowadays people are just not looking out for hard workers. So it's a fair mix of hard and a smart worker who can deliver things and who can handle things at the same time. I think that's the expectation in the world of where do more with less strategy, which is going on across.
Lovely. Okay, so we have one candidate question, like a job seeker point of view. So in competitive roles, what actually separates the top 10% of job seekers from the rest? That is a question asked by many of our job seekers. So yeah, over to you guys. I need answer for both of you. So other
I
like
can take that first, Rachit, if that's okay.
Which is
Uh,
fine.
yes. No, so for me, what stands out, I think your top, I would rather say not even 10%, but top 1% of people who apply for jobs, it's actually your capabilities, right? It's not really your skills. And I personally give skills a slightly lesser weightage unless the role really requires for you to be heavily skilled. What's really important is what is the type of capabilities and competencies you have. And again, this is personal. I appreciate people, who are curious, who have learning ability, who are agile, who are empathetic, because if you have some of these traits and there are a few other traits as well, it's easier for you to come in and adapt, and it's also easier for you to come in and learn, right? And then some of the other skills that work very well is like your interpersonal skills, your ability to collaborate. um, you know uh, I think those two are absolute non-negotiables. And hopefully, you are not someone who's high maintenance, because it's really, really hard for HR and or even your managers to manage if you're very, very high maintenance. So yeah, these are some of the things that I look for, and they stand out for me more than just the skills or the work that you've done in the past.
Perfect, Swati. I'll add to it. Agility is definitely one thing because things change at a very rapid pace nowadays. Then, apart from that, adaptability and a good team and a cultural fit is something what everybody's looking out for. Apparently, problem starts. What I have been listening, because a couple of my friends are also managers, and I get a lot of calls across how to deal with a certain situation. So apparently, this is more of like people when manager or somebody senior try to reach out, or maybe their work life balance is getting hampered. People are, they can say no, but sometimes it gets out in a way where other side feels like they're not respecting or they're losing out, and it is becoming a very high maintenance for them. So apparently a team fitment, a good culture fitment is something which all the organization, all people right now are looking out for, and I think that's something you'll have to adapt, because you have to work in a workforce. It cannot be like most of the time you are behind the laptop, but when you're there on the floor, you should be there and you should speak to people, and that lands your result. Sometimes it's like email does not help you out. It's like talking face to face helps.
Yeah. And also, I think like one of the most important things is like if you are someone, who's passionate, hungry to drive and deliver, and you should be someone who's setting the bar high. Like make sure that, you don't really compromise on your own integrity and your own standards. Anywhere. I mean, it's non-negotiable. I think not just in the job, but in any aspect of your life, and it shows through in whatever you do.
Okay, we got some lovely insights, and now we will have a very interesting round, which is the rapid fire round, and it's a round where I need very short answers and impromptu answers. Whatever comes in your mind first, you have to tell me. Okay, so I'll start the rapid fire, and who wants to take it first, Swati or Rachit? Yeah, I have the question.
So decide.
So Swati, can we go ahead with you? Swati, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. You wake up tomorrow morning as the most powerful person in the world for 24 hours. What's the first thing you change?
Maybe Trump.
Okay. Yeah. You are given a time machine for 24 hours. What would you do with it?
It's me or Rachit?
No, it's you, a few, and then Rachit will have
okay.
this bunch.
Okay, I thought it's like alternate, me and Rachit.
So we'll have like few for you, and then we have lined up for Rachit also.
I'm given a time machine.
You're given a time machine for 24 hours. What would you do with it?
So I can go back and go forward.
Yeah.
I would actually like to go forward, maybe 20 years, and see what's going on, because that'll equip me to do what is right today.
Okay.
I would like to go into the future and see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of questions for Rachit now. Okay. Rachit, so you wake up with the ability to solve one unsolved mystery. Which one would you pick?
If I have to solve one unsolved mystery, that's
Ability to solve, yes.
difficult one. There are two, three going in my mind. What needs to be solved? Maybe how I can run the car on water could be one of the mysteries.
No petrol. Okay. No diesel. No electricity. Okay. Okay. Rachit, so the next one is also for you. You are told you can witness one moment from our history live. Where do you want to go?
I think I want to go where India got the freedom, 1947.
Great. Now, Swati, we have questions for you. You are given a private dinner with any historical figure. Who would you want to have dinner with?
I would actually want to have definitely dinner with Mahatma Gandhi, because like that's one figure which had so much of like that calm. Where did that come from? How did he even manage to create a revolution without violence? Which is phenomenal, because it's really hard for you to fathom. Even if you look at today in our corporate world, it's really hard for you to keep your calm, right? So I would love to understand, how did he keep his calm through all the turmoil that was going on and still create a revolution?
Lovely. Okay, Swati, next question is also for you. Aliens land and you ask them a question.
Who
What
land?
would be that
Sorry.
question? Aliens.
Okay, aliens land. Okay.
Yeah. And you ask them a question, and what would be that question?
How did you land? How did you even find us?
Okay. Uh, so, Rajit, a couple of questions for you. You're given the
Yeah,
power to introduce one law that everyone must follow for a week.
I
What
think
is it?
I think no calls after 6 o'clock.
Can I also answer that one?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Please, please, please,
Please
please.
don't leave the city.
Okay, great. Rajit, you can teleport the entire audience of this live stream anywhere right now. Where are we going?
If we have to go, we'll go to base camp of Everest. I think that's where that's also on my to-do list. But apparently, now I'm not getting time while you guys to do it. So I think we are going to Everest.
Okay, great. So we are going to EBC. Great. Swati, bunch of questions for you. You are allowed to redesign one Indian tradition. Which one do you want to rewrite?
Redesign one Indian tradition.
Yes.
Karwa Chauth. Maybe men should do it.
Okay.
But
Swati,
Swati,
next
just on a
question.
lighter note, still people do it.
Let them do it, but I don't want women to do it. Out of compulsion, for sure, no.
Okay. Swati, so you discover you have been living in a simulation. What's the first thing you test?
I'm living in civilization. Which civilization? Sorry.
Simulation, like a matrix
I'm in a
simulation.
simulation. Okay.
And
And
which one? Uh, and what's the first thing you test?
if I'm living in a simulation, what's the first thing I test? Hmm, I'm not sure. Like maybe time travel. If I'm in a simulation, I would love to test. Since you asked about time travel, that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, great. Rajit, you're asked to create one new public holiday for the world. What is it called?
It would be if I have to give it a name, uh, Freedom Day. You can do whatever you want to do.
Great. Okay. You are allowed to rewrite one famous historical decision. Which one?
I think famous historical decision. I think that could be where the two countries were divided. That line could be
Okay, the partition.
That's a good
the
one.
partition.
Yeah.
I think
Swati,
if both the
last question
countries,
for you.
We still have Rachit going. Yeah.
so I was saying
Okay,
if both of us would have been on the top, both the
yes,
countries as a single one.
sure. Swati, you can rename the planet anything which you want. What do you want to call it?
Maybe mothership. Planet is like your mother. So yeah, mothership instead of Earth.
Great. Rajit, the last question for you. You were handed a blank flag and told to design a new one for the world. What goes on there?
Sorry, I didn't get the question, Sabujit. The,
You are given a blank flag to
okay,
design for the
okay,
world. So a world
okay.
flag you want to design. What will it be on that flag?
It would be a plain white flag which calls for peace.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And that's all from me. And thank you both for being such a sport and taking your time out. And it was great having you, Swati and Rachit, on the show. And hopefully you liked it. And we have a lot of audience who have given us a lot of feedback. So I'll send across all the questions which we have got. And thank you so much for joining in.
Sure.
All right. Thank you so
Sabujit.
much. Thank